Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description. You got a hand from Motor City?
Yeah, from Motor City in Detroit.
Okay.
It's 2-5. It's the 800 cap in the Motor City in Detroit. So this was an interesting one where I wasn't exactly sure on a couple different streets.
Okay.
So I cover the table. I've got about 1,400. The two main villains. One's about a little under 1,000 effective. The second's about 400 effective.
Okay.
I am under the gun +1, and I open 9-8 of hearts to 20.
Okay.
I get called by villain 1, who's in middle position.
Yep.
He's an older guy. He plays pretty tag though. He's not like super tight or anything. He
Yep.
will like 3-bet ace king jacks, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I get called by villain 2, who's in the hijacked. He is just kind of a fishy guy. Pretty loose passive. I played a hand against him like a month or two ago where.
All right, man. All right, let's go. Sorry, I know we can't get into the description about every single player, but so MP, hijack, big blind, and small blind call, right?
Yeah.
If he's relevant to the spot, then we'll talk about it later on.
Okay, fair enough. So
Yep.
the pot's 105.
Yep.
The flop comes Jack of Diamonds, 5 of Hearts, 7 of Spades. So
Okay.
rainbow with backdoor hearts and a double gutter to the nuts both ways.
Yep.
And I decide to check.
Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people, right? You've got 9-8 of hearts. I mean, it's not a bad flop, obviously, for 9-8 of hearts. The board's not that connected, right? You've got a gutter, double gutter, right? To a 6 and to a 10, but there are 4 people in the hand. You also have a backdoor heart draw here, too. I mean, even with 4 people in the hand, I would probably bet this off. When I first looked at this, I thought you just had like a gut shot, like the board came out like Jack 7-3 with 1 heart, and I can sort of see sometimes check calling or see what's going on, but I might bet here and then again barrel a lot of sort of disconnected kind of overcards, but your hand's got a fair amount of equity, and it's the right types of cards that are going to sort of bring in a fair amount of action. So, it's kind of interesting with a hand like this with 9-8 of hearts, the bad barrel cards make your hand or give you a lot of equity, right? And then the blanks, which are the good barrel cards, miss your hand, but you can just take it away. So I might start actually a multi-way bluff here. I understand that there's 4 people, but definitely I would bet into 3. So you decide to check, right?
Yeah, I decided to check. Kind of for what you're saying. It was 4 other people, and I wanted to realize my equity potentially. So I checked. Villain 1 leads 60. The hijack calls, the button calls, small blind folds, and it comes back around to me. And so I actually thought like maybe this is a good spot to check raise, but I think, I don't know if I would do that even. I might do that with aces or kings, but I just decided to call.
You got to remember though too that you have to look at the position of the guy that bet. Right? The guy that bet, villain 1, is an MP, right? So he's next to act, right? Is that right? I mean, that's what it looks like here from your notes.
He's next to act. He's like 2 to my left.
Yeah, so he's going to be probably like on the stronger side here as opposed to like the hijack betting when it gets checked to him. You know what I mean? So if I was going to throw in a check raise, I'd do it like where you checked and everyone else checked and a late position guy bet. This guy is betting. The blinds are blind, right? They're naturally checking to you. So, just a single check raise here, I don't think is necessarily going to move a guy off of a jack. You know what I mean?
Right,
also, too, I'm not a fan of check raising aces or kings 4 ways here, 5 ways here either for value. But so you decide to call.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I decided to just call.
Yeah.
So the pot's now 345. It's getting, relatively large, moving to the turn.
Yep.
The turn comes the Jack of Hearts. So, it pairs the board. So it's definitely more of a bad card in my mind than a good card, but it does give me the flush draw as well to go along with the double gutter.
Sure.
So I decided to check.
Yep.
For a second, I thought about maybe like leading to set my own price, but I just didn't think that was as good of a play.
I mean, that could work sometimes against the pot's being 345 and you bet. See, leading to set your own price though, I feel like if the guys are any type of competent players, they're gonna rate. You're gonna get set your own price at higher if you're gonna bet like less than 1/3 the size of the pot. You know what I mean? Bet like 75 or 100. A jack could be raising all day long here, especially if the hijack is the one that has a jack. I think a check here is fine. So MP bets, right? The guy who bet the flop.
Yep, the guy who bet the flop now leads the turn pretty confidently for 200, just 2 black chips.
Yep.
Hijack does not think too long and makes the call. Button folds, and it comes back around to me. Again, it seems like a pretty straight call.
Sure.
So that's what I do.
Yep.
So now the pot is 945. We head to the river. The river is the 6 of hearts. So I make both the straight and the flush.
Right.
And at this point, I decided to lead. I didn't want it to check through. So I led pretty small, less than a quarter pot for 200.
So the hijack is really short now, right? The
hijack is very short.
So
he's got about 125 left.
So the hijack is basically irrelevant. The pot's 945. The guy with the pre-flop, or the guy with the flop lead, basically, who bet after you check to him, he's got 685 left. Is that about right? Because he bet 200 on the turn and he bet 60. Right. He's got 685 left, right? And the pot's 945. Is that right?
Correct.
I would just shove the river.
Really?
Yeah, I would just shove the river. To be honest, because I can't see how. And I know it sort of looks like, you might get somebody that's a decent player to hero fold a jack, but most people at this level aren't going to hero fold a jack. And I think the best play is to just shove. It's 685. It's a 2/3 pot size bet. You know what I mean? And you can't tell me a guy at 2-5 is going to fold king jack or ace jack here. This is interesting, and the reason why I picked this hand is because you sort of blocked for 200 here, and now basically the pot is what, 1785, 485 for you to call, right?
Yeah. So what happens is I block for 200, and the guy he jams it on me for 685. So now it's
485 to call, right?
Yeah, it's like a little over 3 to 1.
Right.
Like maybe 3.5 to 1.
I wouldn't fold here. He's repping way too thin, and I'm the guy that people make fun of as saying, "Oh, Bart always says bet fold, bet fold." There's just not a whole lot of hands that beat you here, except if he maybe had higher hearts that he continued to barrel on turn. But he's got a guy that called behind him on the flop. That's a little bit of a spew. It's a little bit of a spew for him to continue to bet turn with a guy that called behind on the flop. So really what he's saying is he's got pocket 7s or pocket 5s, or is he loose enough to have jack 7 suited calling you from like MP1? But he continued
I don't think he has jack 7 suited. That seems unlikely. But I do think he has, all the 5s and all the 7s. And in this type of game, those river raises are just so nutted. Even though it's, like you said, only, a third pot raise at the end. It seems, typically very nutted. So, is he doing that? Is he just overplaying a jack, or like he has no bluffs, right?
I just can't fold here. Like I said, it's just repping too thin. He continued to bet the turn when the pot was 345. He continued to bet the turn for 200, which maybe some people would do as with an underfull, but maybe, is there a possibility that he's got like, I don't know. I just see people end up with weird shit before. Ace Jack, or like him himself had 8-9, or he had like 3-4 of hearts or something like that. There obviously aren't many heart draws that continue. I'm looking at the possible straights that are out there that he thinks are the nuts, which would be like 8-9, which of course you have 2 of, a hand like 3-4. But I can't just fold just giving the guys 5s and 7s here. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I know what you're saying, that it doesn't, that it's sort of nutted, but I really think that the problem here on the river is the bet is not large enough. I would just go. I would just bet here.
Okay.
Large.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I didn't chip it was I just thought, it would be tough to almost get called by anything that I beat if I ship it. I'm not so sure that he calls with King Jack and even Ace Jack.
So I saw Thomas O'Toole says Ace of Hearts Jack X. I don't know if that means Thomas O'Toole that the guy's turning his hand into a bluff with trips. Come on, it's 2-5. But I'm just telling you what I would do, man. I would, whenever I make a backdoor, and I play, I pay some 5-5, 1K cap, obviously. And when I make a backdoor hand like this, and I think someone's got a big hand, there's going to be some variance in your river value betting, obviously. And this spot's sort of weird because, yes, he jammed, but you can't tell me a guy's going to fold Ace Jack or King Jack here when you bet 685 and a 945. I don't buy it. I'm trying to max target value at this level, and I don't think that I'm going to bet fold. So that's why I would take the larger sizing. Anyways, what did end up happening? Did you fold?
Yeah, I folded like a you know what, and whoever the guy is smart. He had Ace of Hearts and a Jack. And he thought he had the best hand.
Right, that's not, Ace of Hearts Jack is not right. I was just giving Thomas O'Toole shit because it was maybe he thought that he was turning his hand into a bluff, but here, I mean, he shouldn't raise that hand, obviously, right?
No, right.
Not for value. Not for value. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he overplayed it and it worked out really well.
Yeah. But yeah, I would just jam. And obviously, if the guy raised your bet all in for 200, he's going to call a jam. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally. You're right.
So,
cool. All right, well, thanks, Bart.
All right, cool. Thanks for the call. Hey, guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button, and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.